Hello, everybody. I am Straight Jacket Jim.
And I'm Natty. Hello, welcome.
How are we doing tonight? And I can actually
Oh,
hear you now, Natty. It was just like PC stuff. It's okay, guys. I only do this for a living. It's, no big one. But yes, how are
that's
you?
okay. If it was up to me, we'd have a lot more problems than just the occasional not being able to hear each other. I'm doing okay. I maybe spoiled myself a little bit and had some popcorn chicken for dinner
Oh,
tonight.
yummy.
Yeah. How about yourself? How's your Wednesday going?
It's going really well. I actually got a surprise today. I got a nice little package. See, I'm actually wearing the shirt at the moment. A nice Free Guy shirt.
Oh, oh my goodness,
I
that's
got I
amazing.
know it's so cool, and like got with me little tie, and I got a hat and the Blu-ray copy and a coffee mug. Oh, it's really cool, really good, and it's a good movie.
Oh,
If you haven't seen it, you should pick it up on and on Blu-ray or Disney Plus as well. And Mentunzo wants me to stand up, and I'm not sure if I should because I'm not sure Twitch TOS is ready for that.
yeah, I don't know if it's allowable. You're not at the beach or in a
No,
hot
that
tub.
is true. That is true. Yeah.
Ah.
But but we got a lot of news to talk about today. Lots of stuff happening. Some really cool stuff. And first of all, let's talk about TFT and Escher finishing fifth in the Reckoning Championships.
Yeah, absolutely. So, for anybody who doesn't know, Escher was the OCE representative who was representing us at the TFT World Championships that happened over the weekend. So, over 4 days, Escher played through the preliminary round, which was on Friday for us. And he managed to land in the top four. He actually took out first place on day one, and he landed in group stage. So, for TFT Reckoning, the group stage was an A and B group, one group running on Saturday, one group running on Sunday. Escher was in the first group on the Saturday, and he landed third in that group overall, which was great. So yeah, he made it all the way to the finals on the Monday, which is amazing. And I wrote it 60 times um in my article, sorry, Menthonzo in chat saying team fight underlords. No, no, team fight tactics. um he made it to the final day, so proving that OCE can be the best in the world, compete with the best in the world when we're on an even standing. So he did his best. He made it through. He was actually really close to taking out the championship, but unfortunately just couldn't snag it. So ended up in fifth overall. Really exciting though for anybody who's a Teamfight Tactics fan. There was great up and down action all weekend.
Cool. We've got a bit of a clip here to play from one of the games that one of the rounds that he won. So, yeah, like I'm not a big team fight tactics sort of a person, but just seeing them all go together, like I've watched little clips here and there, and it's quite incredible. It's just like it's very well, like the name says, it's tactical, and just
Yes.
and probably a little bit of luck as well with the builds that you get compared to your opponent. But yeah, you can look, you just see the excitement on his face, taking out that win there and in that particular game.
Yeah, absolutely. I loved that his reaction there. Let's go,
Yep,
boys.
yep.
Escher is definitely a man of the people. Really, really appreciate his streaming style. It's something really unique about TFT as an esport that most of the highest level competitive players are on streaming every day. So the TFT community really is built through places like Twitch and has a really strong following through there. Um,
I,
Yes, getting lots of laughs in chat. Yes, so TFT is an auto chess game, so there are certainly elements of luck to it, as you said, but it's for me, it's very much like poker. Poker's a game of luck, but the person with the most skill always wins because they know how to balance those lucky runs with making the best tactical choices. And the little clip that we're seeing there was Escher. He managed to change his build a couple of times and score that three-star Vel'Koz, and he had built the items ready to go to land on Vel'Koz to take that round out. So that was the third game of the finals where he scored that first place.
yeah. So that
And
was one
yeah,
because I was looking at the results. They both him and another player in that round hit over 18 points. which puts them in the hot seat to win the whole thing. Because like it was a little confusing to me trying to read it, but like yeah, that was it, the bits I read said that after round 3, both him and Kicks Kictus or Kitux.
I'm never gonna say it right
Yeah.
because the X is pronounced like a two.
Oh, right.
So it's like
Uh,
Chi2.
like
Chi2 is how
like
you
a
say it.
French almost sort of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so he's from China region, but yeah,
Oh,
Chi2.
he's on the screen as well. He's the one
Yes.
that Escher beat to get the win.
Yes, yeah. So in the 3 days leading up to the finals, it was just whoever earned the most points over 5 games. What we saw in the final day of action was the players had to earn over 18 points, and then once they'd done that, then a first place would secure them the championship. So they couldn't just coast along getting, fourth or third or even second over a few games. They had to prove their mettle and get a first after they'd hit the 18-point mark. So what we saw was Chitu and Escher both become eligible to win after that third game. But unfortunately, in game five, 5 out of the 8 players in the final were eligible, and unfortunately, Escher lost out there.
Yeah, it was a player Hanmi who ended up winning the whole thing, and but it was great to see Escher be able to compete on an international stage there, even if it was an online event rather than a LAN event. I think by looking at that screen, it looked like he was in his room, but
Yeah.
it's still to be able to compete with our pings at an event like this. Although luckily for TFT, ping is not such a big thing, but
Yeah, I mean, it still can be an absolute disadvantage. And we saw, not in the final day of action, but across the first couple of days of action, some of the players were displaying their ping because you can do that in game. You can tag it, and some of them were having 200 ping, 300 ping.
Oh,
So
wow.
it was definitely a little bit of a disadvantage because 2 of the players were from the China region and they were playing in the China studios where the championships were going to initially be
Right.
held.
Yeah.
So if you want to be a little bit conspiracy about it, the Chinese players did have, that little bit of a ping advantage for that quick decision making.
I do have another clip that I want to show, and mainly because I just love it. Like, this is Escher in one of the earlier rounds. He's won, he's super happy, and in comes Papa to congratulate him.
Yeah, I mean, in what other sport can you compete at the highest levels in the world and have your little papa there in the
That's right.
background cheering
So
you
cool.
on?
Very nice. Very cool. Cool. So, in other worlds news, we LOL World started overnight. So League of Legends kicked off last night, Australian time, and Local Hopes, who carry all of OCE's dreams on their shoulders, Peace, got to have their first showing. And look, it was always going to be tough for them, especially having 2 new players, because both Appy and Lisa couldn't make it over. And they made up part of the team that won the LCO for them. But Lived and Vivachachi filling in. Vivachachi got targeted fairly early on. I think that top lane was very much under control for LNG. But I think it was a little bit of still learning to play together and a little bit of this is Worlds. It's another step up altogether. And I'm hoping that Peace can adjust and bring it back. Maybe get a couple of wins.
Yeah, I mean, Peace were definitely up against a tough team yesterday. They were facing the fourth qualifying scene from the China region, who, that's a hugely strong region that they went up for their first game. And honestly, their bracket for the play-ins is really tough. They've not only got their fourth seed from the China region, but they've also got a couple of the other major regions in there as well that they've got to compete against. So it's going to be tough, but we're still cheering them on and hoping that they can pull up. They've got 2 games tonight. One at now I'm going to say silly ACST times because I'm in the middle of the country. For me, it's 9:30 and 11:30 tonight. So for people in Perth, that'll be
I
7:30.
think
No, 7 and 10,
nine.
9.
Yep.
Yes, 7 and
So
9.
for those
Thank
of you
you.
playing along at home, in just under 2 hours, Peace will play their second game. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see how they can develop and progress over the play-ins. I think it's going to be tough to see them make it out of the play-in rounds, but also never count out an OCE team.
That's right. That's right. And you know, I don't want to compare them to Pentanet, but because they're a different team. But Pentanet started off rough, and yeah, their group was a little different, where they only had three teams in it, so they only had one team to be better than. But you don't get many opportunities like this, and if you can learn as you go along, like Pentanet did, and adjust and adapt, then anything can happen.
I completely agree. Completely agree. And I don't like to call it puncher's chance, but there is always, that opportunity in League of Legends where somebody can just get off that well-practiced skill shot, get the ace, run it down, and that can make all the difference.
Yeah.
So, yeah, exciting to see what's going to come of it. And it's kind of nice that the games aren't at like 2 o'clock and 4 o'clock in the morning.
I'm really enjoying that. Like, I only had to stay up till like 10 o'clock. Like, I was in bed, but just a little bit past. Actually, that's a lie. I wasn't just a little bit past 10 because I stayed up and watched the Smash announcement as well. But it was an early night for something like this that I thought I'd have to be up really, really late for. And even tonight, like, it's 7 o'clock and 9 o'clock Perth time. That's just like normal going to bed time, really.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. For me, following on from the TFT championships, where most of the days of action were wrapped up by midnight, it was good. It's nice change compared to having to be up in the wee hours of the morning.
For sure, for sure. Cool. On to a little bit more sadder news. I'm going to start with sadder because it very quickly morphed into outrage for me. I don't know how you felt about it, Maddie, but earlier this week we found out that both Order and Chiefs would be unable to take their Valorant team to the last chance qualifiers in North America. I just want to read out this combined statement from Order and the Chiefs first. So, both the Chiefs and Order's respective teams have spent months competing in various qualifiers to earn their spot in the VCT 2021 North America Last Chance Qualifier. We were looking forward to being able to prove ourselves at the event, which would have been our first opportunity to face international teams and showcase what our region is capable of. Across both traditional sports and esports, the OCE region always punches above our weight and consistently delivers on the international stage. This event was a key opportunity that was fundamental to the ecosystem as a whole. Not only was it the first Valorant LAN event for the players, but also a huge opportunity under the spotlight for potential scouting and invaluable international stage experience. Unfortunately, this experience is always few and far between for our region. Yeah. From a commercial and media perspective as well, this event would have strengthened the local scene through core partnerships, developed and led to significant positive impact for both organisations as they continue to lead the development of esports locally. Unfortunately, neither team will be able to attend the event due to last-minute travel complications. Both organisations worked persistently to secure travel for their teams and are disheartened to learn the news at this late stage. While this is a very disappointing outcome to a preventable scenario, we look forward to the open dialogue we now have with Riot to improve the opportunities for the OCE region and create a structured ecosystem with relevant global pathways. Thank you for your continued support of the Chiefs and Order. Now,
Look, that was a pretty well articulated joint comment that they made, and considering how close it was from the announcement that Riot made, I thought they did a good job of keeping cool tempers, outlining the issues that they felt they had and how it's going to disadvantage the OCE region going forward. But also, I think, putting forward momentum to say we're looking forward to positive partnerships in the future.
Yeah.
So
I think it like the first 3 paragraphs of that highlight the work that has been done and what it means for these orgs to be able to go over to an event like this. Because Valorant's, 2.5 years old, so it's not that much into its life. And the teams are still sort of finding what it means to be a Valorant team. But the 4th and 5th paragraph really show that it's very disappointing, and especially things that have come out since then, and really Riot's response, because Riot's press release was nowhere near that level of
yeah, it didn't even get the special love of like a Cyberpunk release where they bothered to even brand it.
Yeah.
No black and yellow text, or in this case, black and red or whatever for Valorant. It's just like it looks like it's been typed out on Notepad.
Yeah,
and
it's very just like, I'm not even going to bother reading it out because it's not so much about the teams and from the sounds of it what's gone on, but more about we're sad that they can't come, but we're reorganizing to an 8-team tournament. Thanks, bye. That was about it. And yeah. And then the things that have come out in the last day. So this was a tweet from I think he's a WA boy as well.
Yeah,
I think,
Ducky's from Perth.
Yeah.
He's brilliant. He writes for Dexadori and for Snowball Esports. He's just one of the leading journalists in the region.
Yeah.
If you don't follow him on Twitter already, definitely do that.
Yeah, you really should. He's got his finger on the pulse. And he tweeted this. This one down here he tweeted first. So he was talking about how bullshit it was and what was going on, and then he made the call, because it was in a public Discord, so everybody had access to it anyway, that there were some things like Riot didn't even look at booking flights for these teams until last week, and they didn't apply for travel exemptions until a few days ago, and didn't even know about Australia's border policy, which seems just like a load of crap, considering that not only did Pentanet go to Worlds and Iceland earlier this year, but Peace is currently there. So it's not as if it's a different situation. They got Peace there. Why couldn't Riot sort something out for Order in Chiefs? It really feels like they don't care right now.
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly been a lot of speculation because we just don't know at the moment of why this happened. And from my perspective and a lot of the voices that we're hearing pop up now, it feels like they had the B team on this, right? Had the B team on this. Maybe they, were new people in the role, or, they gave the interns the job to chase. Like, I can't say that I feel like this is malicious, but what I can say is I feel like it's incompetent.
Yeah.
And it's disappointing. It's really disappointing for something that they want to elevate to be a top tier esport. They're not treating it that way, and they're not treating our region with the respect it needs to be able to develop a Valorant scene here.
Yeah. And that's what does feel wrong about it, that at best this is incompetence, and this is how you treat something that you're trying to build into a major esport. It really doesn't sit well. And you've just eliminated 20% of your teams for the tournament through this one act. Or lack of action. I don't know. I
think we both got pretty angry, but I'm also at the point of Riot's been disappointing Oceania for a while, and I know the answers aren't easy. I know there's lots of issues with the Oceanic region generally, as far as us being able to get sponsorships and money generating through our own esports scene. So when things like this do happen, it's devastating. From the Orders and Chiefs response, they're talking about how this is negatively affecting income that they can have coming in through sponsorships, because playing at LAN events internationally is the kind of exposure that sponsors are looking for. That's probably just the most disappointing thing, is that it puts us behind the 8 ball again. we get stunted in our opportunities to grow. And you'd like to hope that the developer for a game would want to have strong seeds in all regions.
Yeah.
But
and it's heartbreaking for the players involved as well. This is 9 months that they've had to get to a qualifying event for the Worlds event that they're going to have. And not only that, I saw a tweet, I think, where one of the players had gotten on a plane from, I think they were meeting up in Sydney, maybe. I'm not sure. They were all flying to a central point and then flying on. And this poor player had gotten on a plane to go to this central point. And by the time he'd gotten off the plane, wherever it was, he'd found out that he had to get back on a plane and go home.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, to have this happen so close to the event also speaks, I think, to that underlying current of disorganization from the Riot side. You've just got to feel like they didn't give themselves enough time to prepare, and they just didn't have the right people doing the job to get this happening.
Yeah. Cool. Well, anyway, I know the Australian teams and OCE teams are resilient. We've come through things like that before, and I'm sure Order and Chiefs will bounce back, and we'll see them again next year. And all the rest of the OCE Valorant community as well. So everybody's thinking of you. Everybody's aware on how crappy a move this is, but we're with you, and we want to move forward and get on with the next phase. And hopefully that last bit from the Order in Chief's statement there about looking forward to open dialogue that they now have with Riot. So hopefully they've got some good stuff there that they can move forward with.
Yep, exactly right. I do want to say I did try to contact Riot Media, but didn't get a response back from them. I kind of think it speaks volumes that our local talent and local teams were so open and transparent with their communication compared to Riot. And I'm hoping that they will publicly discuss a little bit more about how this came about and how they're going to avoid it in the future. But that may be me being a bit too optimistic there.
Yeah. But on to some slightly happier news. Last Friday, I think it was, there was a competition in PUBG, the Continental Series 5 Asia Pacific. And one of our teams, Fury, one Australian team, Fury, did well enough in it that they scored enough championship points to qualify for the PUBG Global Championship in Korea, and they will be heading there.
That's so exciting. That was so good when the news came through, just because I think it was in the same time period as we had all this Valorant news come through. I think it was on the same day that we heard that Fury had their travel and everything all organized and confirmed, ready to go forward to the World Championships in Korea. So super exciting that we've got a team flying over it, especially because I think they're in a similar boat because of COVID. They've missed some opportunities that have been coming up in the last kind of 18 months. So this is great for us to show what we can do internationally at a LAN event.
Yeah, very much looking forward to seeing how they go there. I think I know, of course I've closed the window so I don't have it open anymore, but I think they finished fourth in the tournament.
Yes,
and
fourth. Yeah,
so that's really awesome to see, and glad that they're getting to go to an international event. And speaking of international events, it was also announced today, I think it was, that the next Rainbow Six Major is going to be Six Sweden Major. So that's coming up very, very shortly. The bit
that is really exciting.
Yeah, and it's really close, November 8th to the 14th in November. So it's happening again pretty quick. We only just had the Mexico Major, but it'd be great to see some more Rainbow Six esports happening.
Yeah, and it's really interesting seeing what locations are being picked for LAN events as well. It's kind of hard if you put all the flags on a map to kind of work out what the magic ingredient is. But Europe is definitely seeming like a new hotspot for LAN events, certainly over China, which is interesting.
Mm,
I can't really speak to that, but it's certainly been a trend of this year, like especially Iceland, now Sweden, but we saw a few other events taking place in Europe, so maybe something that we see more as a trend going forward.
mm. I think it's just there's a lot of travel restrictions at the moment, and
Mm.
with the uncertainty, I think Asia in general is a little bit hard to get to. But that said, we've got an event going on in Korea, so yeah, I'm not sure of the reasons, but it's still good to see these international events being able to go ahead in person.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it certainly makes a difference with our ping.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. Cool. Um, But that's about all the esports news we got. But we got some tanks news though. We still got that to go through. So let's.
What are you talking about? This is esports news.
It is. It is.
And
Sorry.
tanks.
Sorry. I'm used to nuts and bolts being like a solely World of Tanks
Yeah.
show so far. So I count the tanks as like in my head. The tanks part of it is separate, and
Yes.
this is still like a tank show because like the World of Tanks. ANZPL is just such an amazing thing to watch, and I'm glad to see it's in its third season. You know, there's only 2 rounds left to go, and then we're in
That's
finals.
nuts.
I know
That's absolutely nuts.
it is.
It's gone by so quick.
It is. It's seriously ridiculous, and I can't wait to see what's going on. But first, let's get through some clips from last week. So, from the first game. So these are the Ironside Hotshot competition. So you can get a chance to vote on this and win a year's worth of coffee from Ironside, who've got a special Arabica blend with World of Tanks there. So I've just put the link in our Twitch chat if you're keen to go and vote on that, or if you're not in Twitch or you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and jump onto the World of Tanks ANZ Twitter page, and they've got the clips there for you to see as well. So this first one was from the Conquerors versus the Matildas game. So appropriately entitled Quack Quack, because you can see here two of the Matildas, who are the yellowy type colour, and the Conquerors being in the red. They're really flying in numbers, and for those not in the know, the Matildas are affectionately referred to as the Ducks. So, and they quite often, like the 3 tanks that you can see just over here, when they collapse onto a tank, it gets called the Flying V, like the Mighty Ducks.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. So it was a really great maneuver where the Ducks managed to isolate tanks, like especially these 2 that have isolated Bluey just here. And you can see these 3 that are heading around onto Buff Hamster there, and they'll just take turns, rotate the damage, and it'll be all over before it begins. And this was kind of key for the Matildas that night, because they did go on to win the game 3-1. So they had a really good outing there. So that's hot shot number 1. The second one from the Action X and Archers. So this is your home team here, Natty, the Adelaide Action X. So you can see down the bottom here, Stewie's trying to get into a spot where he can get a reset shot onto them, but Colin here just doesn't do. It's do not pass. Yeah, do not pass go. Do not collect $200, because it wouldn't have taken much. Because you can see that's where Colin is over there, to get a shot onto Captain Cows, or the other one there would have been quite easy, but he just didn't get past Colin. There's one shot, and then Colin, like, in fairness to Stewie, he had to do that. Like, it was that close, and he was the only one within range that could have gotten those reset shots on, so he had to try it. But it just wasn't going to work.
Just got blocked completely. Yes.
That's right. And so well done to the Action X for pulling off that win, who also went on to have a 3-1 win. So congrats there too. This has to be one of my favourite plays that I've seen in the ANZPL. So before I hit play on this one, I need to give you a bit of backstory, and we'll talk a little bit about this with the interview after this with Wymo. I managed to speak to him this week for the World of Tanks ANZ PL. That's it. No, Wymo, Wimo, one of those.
You'll sort it out in the interview.
That's right. I don't think even Wimo knows how to say it himself. So that's, yeah, we'll go there. And, whether it's Wimo or Wymo, it doesn't really matter. He knows his name. That's cool. But anyway, Wymo is sitting here with Soy Milk, and they're watching down that way, because that's where they're expecting them to come from. But Russian has made a climb up this side very, very sneakily, and you'll see what happens here. So this is very close. So Sentinels are defending. So all they have to really do is wait, and they've got 47 seconds till the round ends. So Russian's made his way up, very sneaky like, a sneaky boy. And then, there we go. Yep, shot onto Wimo. Got him down to a one shot. Soy Milk pokes his head out. One shot, two shots, and Soy Milk gone. Oh, almost one more. Come on. I know he goes. But he'll get there. Yeah,
my goodness, this is crazy play, just with all the sneaks in and out.
Yeah, and there's like one more shot that Russian's got here. Fortunately, doesn't quite make the shot. But Wimo played it very smart there. Soy Milk not so smart, because all they had to do was hold back, and they would have won that. So Wymo did the right thing by holding back and ended up getting his team a win. But that play by Russian, that was just, it was a very unique sort of a play, and neither Wymo or Soy Milk were expecting it, and it was just, it was good. It was good play by Russian and good play by Wymo to be able to survive. Hold really off. There. Yeah, hold off. Yeah. Good. Also, we've
got a Wemo in chat.
Yeah, Wymo. One thing that I do want to mention, well, actually two things. So I think it was this game he did it in. Wymo put out 5,500 damage in this game, which is a huge amount of damage. At the time when we were watching it, there was thoughts that it was an ANZPL record, but Wymo himself seems to think that Tuck may have put out 6k damage at some point, but it's definitely a season 3 record. So that was a huge effort by him through this whole series here, and also Soy Milk, who's the other tank here, actually started the game disconnected. And
oh no!
Yeah, so for the whole game, he pretty much, I think they had 2 tanks left, or the Scorpions might have had 2 tanks left when Soy Milk finally reconnected and got into the game.
Wow.
So yeah, considering that, Sentinels did really well. Starting off with a tank down was just unthinkable, really. But yeah, Sentinels went on to win that one in a tiebreaker, 3-2. Now, this one with the Panthers versus the Bulldogs. So, this one here, Dark knew exactly what was going on here. So, in this sort of a case, if you're defending, as the Bulldogs are here, and Dark in his 1-1-3, they just want to get away. He knows as well at this point that it's going to take 2 minutes for Pro Loser to capture this point, and by the time he gets onto it, it's a minute 30 left, minute 20, minute 30 left. So there's no way that he's going to be able to capture this point, which means Pro Loser has to hunt him down, which is never going to happen because Dark has much more speed than what Pro Loser has, and he's also virtually at full health. There's 2,000 health that Pro Loser would have to chew through. But yeah, Dark's just too fast. So this one here, the Bulldogs ended up taking the round on defense. But good news for Panthers fans like myself, Panthers actually went on to win that 3-1.
Ooh. Nice.
Yeah, which is unlucky for the Bulldogs because that means in the last 2 weeks they've lost to the Conquerors and the Panthers, both of whom are the last and second. They're sort of trading last and second last at the moment on the bottom of the ladder. So to lose to those two teams really puts a dent in the Bulldogs. But they're a class act, and I'm sure that they'll come back and be better for it. So now let's just have a look at the results. So I did read these out as I was going along, but the Matildas beating the Conquerors 3-1, Action X beating Archers 3-1, North Sydney Sentinels and South Sydney Scorpions, the Derby, goes to a tiebreaker at 3-2, and the Panthers get their second win on the board with a 3-1 win over the Bulldogs.
Oh, our teams both cleaned up this week.
They did. That was good. Gets Panthers off the bottom of the ladder, as you can see here. With the North Sydney Sentinels on top with the South Sydney Scorpions as well. So that's shaping up to be quite an interesting little matchup. And I should ask Wimo about it a little bit more, but I made the comment on it sort of seems a while for them to warm up. And even with this, like, it was a really good match that they played against South Sydney, but it still sort of feels like they're only in second gear. And that's the scary thing about the Sentinels is that they have this ability just to switch on and win. Like they did it in the grand final last year against the Scorpions. They went, it was a best of 7 grand final. They went 3-0 down and ended up coming back and winning it in a reverse sweep.
Maybe that's like to keep it interesting for us.
Keep
us on our toes.
That's it. Keep it going for as long as they can. Thinking of those that uptime for all the Twitch drops and everything. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I was going to say maybe they're just trying to get as many in-game minutes as possible, as much competitive experience as possible.
That's it. Well, they don't do fantasy, so they're not farming fantasy points for the grand final.
Oh, yes, that's a nice segue. I'll tell everybody how I went this week. So I'm still in the 80s after missing the first week entirely, but I did go up another 4 spots. So I am sitting on 772 points for this round, which puts me in 49th for the last round. How did you go?
That's good. You're up on the first page of results now. That's good.
Oh, heck yes.
Yeah.
No need to scroll anymore.
That's it. You don't need to flick over to the next page.
It's all right. I'll get you next season, Jim.
That's it.
You watch. I'll be there.
I did have a rough couple of weeks. Yeah, I had that week where one of my main didn't play, and then both my reserves didn't play. So that was a bit hard. And then the week after, I didn't score so well. But this week, I scored really well. I came first out of everybody, which I'm not sure I'm ever going to be able to do again. That's going to be the highlight of my nuts and bolts career.
You need to frame it and putting up on the wall.
I reckon. So that was quite entertaining. I ended up with 1,250.7 points, so that was good. And you can see on the screen here the best team you could have. Which was Bluey Wimo. He made an appearance, with that 5.5k damage. Well, you'd be a bit disappointed if he didn't appear, which as a 3-star player, seems like a bit of a value pick there. And then Whippet from the Matildas, JT from Scorpions, and Raspberry from the Scorpions as well. So I actually only had 2 of them. Actually, no, sorry, I had 3 because I had Whippet, Bluey, and Raspberry on my team. But
it is really interesting that Whippet's only picked by less than 1% of fantasy players. So you will roll scoring and an advantage for anybody that had him on their team like you did this week.
Yep. Yeah, no, it was a big advantage, I think. But I still had the non-best players. I had Russian and Zanin as well. So Russian's been scoring quite considerably for myself. So he's been on my team fairly regularly. But they rejigged the stars this week as well. So some players might have gone up, some might have gone down, just to give it that extra little bit of fairness, because there's some players that haven't played the ANZPL, so they want to see how they go. But yeah, but that was really good, and I'm really proud of that first. After a couple of horrible weeks, it was good to have that win there.
Good to come back. So where are you overall now in the fantasy standings?
Well, see, I was looking at this because I meant to Google this, and I haven't yet, because there is a prize for the person who gets first in the tipping competition, and with the players and the Wargaming staff included, I've jumped up to 14th, but they're ineligible to win the prize.
Oh.
And if you take them out, I'm 10th. So I'm almost cracking the top 10 at the moment. So I just need to get another couple of really good rounds, see if I can make up some ground on the person in front. But I somehow think that might not happen. With 2 rounds left to go, I've got in total 4,706 points, and the person in front, player _2455005026, is on 5,077.7. So he's a good 370 points ahead of me. So I don't quite think I'm going to be able to.
With a name like that, you've got to think it's a bot.
Well, I think it's just think it's a player who hasn't bothered entering a real name. So like, by player I mean someone that plays World of Tanks, not a player in the ANZPL. But yeah, so looking forward to that. See how that goes, because only 2 weeks to go, man. That's I can't believe it's almost over. Like,
yeah, man,
it's gone so quickly.
I still can't believe it.
I know. No, it's been so much fun, and we do have. Oh, that's. Hang on. I was looking at the wrong screen. I put up the wrong thing for Natty to see, but there we go. We'll bring that one back. Everybody on stream was seeing the right one. It was just Natty and myself that were seeing the wrong one. So it was, just the people running the show that couldn't see what was going on. Everybody else was fine. So yeah, we did have. So coming up, actually, it's not this Friday. They're taking a Friday off. I made that mistake in my interview with Wimo, and he corrected me on it afterwards and said, actually, this week's there's a break happening. So we've got a Friday off. We can have a bit of a break and go and stretch your legs, do something a little different, or play, maybe play some World of Tanks yourself.
And maybe study our stats so we can make it to the top of the fantasy league.
That's it. So on the 15th of October, we've got the South Sydney Scorpions versus the Auckland Archers. It says Australian Eastern Standard Time on there. That's not correct. That's Australian Daylight Savings Time. So 7 o'clock Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time. So for Perth people, they still kick off at 4 o'clock in the Arvo. And then we've got the Adelaide Action X versus the Christchurch Conquerors. Perth Panthers versus the Melbourne Matildas. And for the last game of the night, and what I'm picking as my match of the round, is the North Sydney Sentinels versus Brisbane Bulldogs. So Bulldogs have come off a couple of losses. I think they'd be keen to get a win. And the Sentinels, they're dual reigning premiers. So they've got something in the bag that I reckon they'll be able to pull out. And just them versus the Bulldogs is a match that I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah. Oh, that should be a good one for sure. All the makings of a great match.
So, and just before we throw to the interview I did today with Wimo, talking about the last match and the new match going in, I want to quickly mention the ANZ BL or B League, or even Better League, as some people call it. Season 2 has kicked off this week on Monday night. So this is some other teams that are playing. They've made a couple of changes this season. First, they've introduced a new team. There's the Lismore Leopards that have now jumped in. So there's 5 teams for the B League now. And the team formerly known as the Wellington Wolverines is now the Wollongong Wolverines. So that team's moved over to Wollongong instead. So we've got Lismore Leopards, Canberra Centurions, Hawthorn Hellcats, Wollongong Wolverines, and Cairns Comets. So they're all playing off. From Monday night's results, the Leopards beat the Comets 3-2 in a tiebreaker match there, and the Hellcats beat the Centurions 3-1. So yeah, more World of
So
Tanks
are
actions. So
I was
you
going to say, are
can
they
you can
playing
watch it
next
on
week?
Monday
So
and Friday nights,
there we
except not this
go.
Friday night because obviously they're taking a little bit of a break. But that is amazing to see. And quite often, like I had a quick look at some of the rosters, and there's a couple of people, former ANZPL players that have made the switch to the B League, and it's looking really good. Like some of the plays they got going on there are incredible.
Oh, that's excellent. Yeah, multiple opportunities a week
And
to
hello,
get your
Speed.
tanks action.
Oh, hang on. I think I did hear a beep, and my headset's gone flat. I was
Oh,
wondering why Natty
no.
wasn't speaking. Hang on.
Luckily, we can still hear you, even if you can't hear us. Thank you for the hello, Speed AU. You've come at just the perfect time for some technical difficulties. So Straight has an interview coming up shortly. So
Live and Dangerous Productions. Good fun.
Yes. Just going on the fly. This is why all my stuff is wired, because this is my like worst fear, that I'll be in the middle of something and my headset or my mouse or my keyboard or whatever will just die. But this is why we have cords, so we can back things up. And bad cable management there. I'm just having a whinge about your cable management, Jim.
Sorry, I'm still not hearing. I'll have to fix this at
okay.
some point. Wait for some charge in my headset. So, sorry about that, Natty.
All good. We'll take a break.
But luckily, we're at the end of the live part of the show, and we're going to throw to an interview I did with Wimo earlier today. But stick around, and we'll be back afterwards. But thank you so much for joining us. Glad you could hear all the news. Anything to add, Natty?
No, nothing. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening.
Nice. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another World of Tanks interview with Nuts and Bolts here. Today, I am joined by Wimo from the Sentinels, North Sydney Sentinels. I committed a bit of a faux pas there. Just hopefully nobody will spot it. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining me.
Hey, thanks, Jim. Good to be here.
Yeah, so you guys have been having a little bit of a don't want to say rough trot, but a little bit underperforming, I would say, considering that you're coming off those season 1 and season 2 wins, but you always seem to find a way to pull it out in the big games, and particularly last week against the Scorpions. I know I rate both yourself and the Scorpions, and the Sydney Derby's always one that's really worth watching. How did you find that game? Because it was kind of a repeat of the grand final with Scorpions going up early on, but then you guys coming back and completing the reverse sweep.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the season goes, I think that we're always kind of iffy during the season. Because I mean, to be frank, a lot of our more skilled players in our team don't really play the game. So when we come into games, we're pretty cold, and we come in and we warm up, and then generally that's why in season 2 you saw us win a lot of 2-2 games. Like it would come to 2-2 or 1-3, just because we warm up during the games more than anything. Against the Scorpions, I mean, JT's a great caller, but we've got Rainbow. He's just the best caller on the server. That's just hands down. You know, they've got I wouldn't say they've got a great lineup, but JT really knows how to work them. Like JT is really good at putting his guys in really good situations where they can make plays. Yeah. So, but it basically just comes down, and especially the game that you saw last week, just comes down to JT versus Rainbow. That's all it is. Like, yeah, our players can make individual plays. I mean, I did 5.5, but it's mainly Rainbow. Like, it's 90% Rainbow. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's it. And the shot callers play such a massive role in just saying, all right, this is the play we're going for. And even with that extra minute that you've got this season, it lets you reevaluate. If you spot something that's not quite to your liking, the shot caller can then reevaluate and go completely different.
Yeah, Oh, that's right. I mean, in that the first game we played on Tundra last week, we were sorry. The last game we were playing on Tundra, where me and Cindy went down to the low water. We got spotted there. Eventually we ended up spotting the Super Conqueror over the bridge. And Rainbow's decision to have 2 tanks push that, there's no way JT was expecting that. And it comes down to also Cindy stopping behind a rock. So JT was peeking up on a ridge while Cindy was crossing. So Cindy stopped behind a rock in the river so that JT wouldn't see him. And it's just little things like that, not giving JT the information to be able to make the call, hey, Super Conqueror, run away. So instead, Super Conqueror ends up with 2 tanks directly in front of him, gets pushed out.
That's it. It's as much about denying the opposition as it is creating your opportunities.
Exactly. Definitely.
Cool. So we do have a little bit of a clip. You briefly mentioned the Tundra map, and I just want to play this clip. This is one of the Ironside Hot Shots clips of the week, and was the start of your comeback. So we'll just play through it now, and we can see that Russian's found a way. You don't see it in the clip, but he's actually climbed up the back of that cliff there. And obviously you guys weren't expecting him to come that way because you're facing up where people would normally, any sane person would normally come. Can you talk us through what you were thinking here?
So we weren't expecting him to come through the climb. You know, we're very much aware of it, but we were not expecting it at all. It was a brilliant play from him. I'm not going to lie. It was caught us off guard fully. I took one shot. Took me a little bit to react to it because I was so focused on him coming up the hill. I wasn't prepared for him to come down behind us, which is funny because we actually saw a tree get knocked down behind us, but we thought he was just going around. When he got one extra shot on me, I freaked out, started backing up. I took a shot, but there was actually a bit of server lag, and I fully missed him. You'll see my shot go straight past him. The only issue here was Soy Milk peeking sideways on top of a rock. It was a fair bit of a misplay from him, but you know, ultimately a great play from Russian. I'm just happy it didn't work out for him.
Yeah. That's it. He got it down to a one shot in the end, but I think I'm not sure whether he bounced or just missed one of his shots.
He bounced 2 on me ultimately, and the last shot you see here coming up, he basically only had my cupola. I had a shot left. He knew it. I knew he had one more left. It was just can he pen the non-cupola side of my turret? I just felt like I'd take that gamble. Rainbow was saying reverse, go down the hill. But I figured if I reverse out here on this angle, I'm going to show him the front right bottom of my tank, so the lower glacius of my tank. And he might get a shot on that as I'm backing up. That's a bit dangerous, so I just decided to stick it out.
Yeah, and with that one shell in there, and that's Russian having to come around that corner there, and with the time so low, like it was on your side there. Like he had to make the play. You could be patient.
Yeah, exactly. I got the armor to try and fight him like that. So.
Yeah, well, it was very, very exciting to watch. I'll tell you that. Very, very tense because like you don't see a lot of games now that they've increased the time going right down to the wire, and just you knew Russian was trying to make moves, and to come up with a play like that, and to get so close as well. Like I know we're talking to you guys about it, but it just, to me, it really was such an amazing move. But for you guys as well, it was the start of the reverse sweep there. So you managed to get both wins on Tundra and then go to the tiebreaker map and take that one as well.
You know, the funny thing about that game there, Jim, is casters didn't realize it. I'm not sure if they were asleep or not. Soy didn't connect until there was 2 tanks left.
Really? As in,
Soy was disconnected for the entire game.
We did. Like I noticed that viewing, and I'm not sure whether they mentioned it or not, but yeah, like he didn't move for a long period of time, and we've just gone, oh no, maybe he's disconnected, and that was a little bit. I don't know whether you call it unfortunate or lucky to have Soy Milk just come into the game later. I don't know. I guess probably unlucky because you never want to be a tank down that like straight away in a game.
The lucky thing for us is that Knight basically was caught out completely. When Knight came up at the start of the game, he didn't expect me to be where I was, and he didn't expect the scone to be where it was, so he got caught out, and we basically killed him for free.
Yeah.
Soy Milk coming in late was just, no, it was pretty crappy, Jim. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. But got there in the end, and I do want to say congratulations, because I believe that you pulled out a 5.5k game in one of these too, which there seems to be a bit of debate about whether that's an ANZ PL record. Definitely a season 3 record. That's a lot of damage to be putting out.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was this game actually with Russian doing this climb. I think Trax owns the record for the most damage done from last season. I think he did 6k or something.
But still, yeah, it's a massive amount, and being put in the right position, or being in the right position to be able to deal that amount of damage, and must have done all right for your fantasy league points. I know it's not a concern for you guys while you're playing, but definitely helps people who put you in their side.
I think for me, it just feels good to help my boys out. My boys, you know, I'm generally a brawler. I basically go in, I sub call for rainbow, call out targets, reposition people if they need to be repositioned, that sort of stuff. Only very small movements, but it's not usually me doing the big damage. It's usually players like Rainbow, Sydney, Speed, players that are put in those positions. I mean, to do it in a VZ, I was just pretty lucky, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. So coming up this week, you've got a game against the Bulldogs. It's going to be an interesting one, because Bulldogs started the season off very strongly with they had 2 outright wins and a tiebreaker win. But the last 2 weeks, they've lost to the Conquerors and Panthers consecutively. And as much as I love the Panthers, I'm a Perth boy myself, and that's my team. If you'll be able to see in the video when we go to air, I've got my Panthers posters up the back that I had to make myself. ANZPL, you're missing out on some merch opportunity there. But they are the lowest 2 teams at the moment, and for Bulldogs to lose to them, it really puts a big dent in their finals aspirations. So what does that sort of affect your preparation coming up to it, knowing that Bulldogs are probably going to come out firing and definitely keen to get the win so that they can maintain their position on the ladder?
I mean, I'll be honest with you, Jim. I feel like the Bulldogs are a really, really, really strong team. I don't think that they're strong because of their individual players. I think they're strong because of their synergy. They play really well together. They don't have like crazy big names. Like they got Madhouse, they got Dark. These are both very great players, but they haven't really got a caller. I know I've been speaking to them. They don't really have one. It's just their synergy that gets them over the line, and you can never underestimate that. Not even almost. As far as losing to the Panthers and the Conquerors go, it's probably easier to lose to a team that you don't think is very good. So I would say, yeah, I agree. Conquerors are, for lack of a better word, pretty bad. So is JS's team somehow, even though he's got great players and himself, who is a great player. But it's not that you underestimate them, it's that you can't predict what they're going to do. Especially for us, we always struggle against those sorts of teams because Rainbow, he's not a by-the-book caller. He can definitely, I mean, the guy basically sees into the future, but he can't predict what they're going to do. Like, for instance, Prokhorovka, they had all 5 of their tanks on the hill, on the 8-9 line. What is that? And that was Action X. What is that? How do we predict that? You know what I mean? It's so I don't think that it's the Bulldogs being weak. I think it's just them getting caught off guard. I still would definitely consider them to be a very strong team, and we'll definitely be bringing out all the guns and bells and whistles to try and take them down.
That's it. Then, like, I think Conquerors, you can't really underestimate them, because I think they were the first team to defeat Sentinels in the history of the ANZPL last year as well, with that quick 3-tank cap on Ghost Town, I think it was.
Yeah, that was my fault.
Yeah,
that was my fault.
Yeah, but
I threw the game.
But like you say, they try something different and unpredictable, and you get caught off guard. So, sometimes those inexperienced teams or the lower down teams can just go, you know what, stuff it. Let's just try this, see what happens.
Exactly. No fear against the better teams, whereas the better teams have a lot of fear.
That's it. But yeah, the Bulldogs will versus the Sentinels this week will be a very, very good match. In fact, I think that's going to be my pick of the round to watch. It's going to be very entertaining, I think. And yeah, like I said, the Bulldogs will be very keen not to drop another game. So it'll be interesting to see how you guys match up against them.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Ravi always does really well. I think he's like the pseudo Kohler for their team. He always does well. They're such a solid team, and I have no idea how. They're an anomaly. Like I said, they don't have those crazy players. They've got Dark and Madhouse, but they just make it work every week.
That's good. Well, yeah, I think they were the only team that had an unchanged lineup coming into this season, so that says something for them when they're that solid a team and that keep them together.
Well, that's right, yeah. And they really gave us a run for our money in the grand final last year. That was
well, this 7-game series. That was crazy. Once again, you guys just took a little while to warm up, but got there eventually.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Ended up, we beat them on. They were undefeated on Sand River, so us going into attack, their defense was undefeated. We were stressing about that one.
Yeah. Well, this is the point where I normally ask about Fantasy League, but we were talking beforehand about it. And you say you don't have a Fantasy League, but I still want to bring it up because I'm crowing this week. I managed to get first for that round out of everybody. I don't know how I did it, but I did it, and I'm very happy with that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, what was your lineup?
Hang on, let me...
Who'd you pick?
Madhouse was in there.
I better have been in your team, Jim.
I don't think you were. I know. Oof, big oof moment.
Yeah.
Hang on, where's... Got to work out how to find me my last lineup. All right, so I had Russian, Whippet, Xanon, Bluey, and Raspberry rounded out the 5. Yep,
that's it. Man, you locked out pretty hard on.
I did. I've actually changed up my method because with the star system now, I was going for like picking a balanced one with lots of 3s and maybe 1 4 in there. But after the I was telling you beforehand about how I had one round where one of my main team didn't play and 2 of the reserves didn't play. And then the week after, I had a shitty round as well. So I just went, you know what, bugger it. I'm putting in a couple of 5-stars and then filling it out with 1 and 2s. And that worked for me last week.
Yep. Well, I mean, bloody hell, Bluey did well last week, which you wouldn't expect. I mean, it's Bluey.
But I had had some luck there, and I realised I had Cold the Wise as one of my reserves, and looking at it now, I don't know why I picked him because he has not played a game so far this season. And he didn't play one last week, so he wouldn't have helped me at all either. But it's once again, I find the fantasy roster in a very interesting way and a very good way of learning all the different players, and helps you just have that little bit more investment in the game. And the star system as well just makes it that so you're not just picking a mixture of the best players every week.
I think I have my opinions on the star system, but I mean, Lightning Man is the same stars as me. That's ridiculous. He is one of the best players in Australia. You know what I mean? Like, he should not be the same stars as me. And it's just it's a bit much. But the stars, the stars make it very very interesting in Fantasy League. I like it as an addition, definitely.
So do I, and especially now they've rebalanced the stars after last week, I think it was. So they're probably a little bit more representative, especially for the newer players on their performances. So, but definitely get into it. There's a prize for probably a little bit late to be getting into it if you want to try and win the prize for the top performer. But
what is the prize, Jim?
That is a very good question. The prize standings. I did know this.
Well,
I need to research that. You're
going to win it, Jim. Come on.
That's it. I'm going to win it. I'm only what am I? About 70 points behind the winner. About the current leader, whoever player 2455005026 is.
Yeah, it's player.
Yeah. But
Nah, you'll get it, Jim.
yeah. Well, I was looking at that because you can see the players and the wargaming staff that are in there, and they're ineligible to win. So while based on all the accounts that are in there, I'm currently sitting 14th. But based on who can win, I'm sitting 10th. So I'm creeping up there.
Still in it, yeah.
Yeah. My only goal this season though is to beat Jay. That's the only thing I want to do. And it was looking a little bit dicey there. And I've had another with that win last week. I've had a breath of fresh air into me. So it's I've jumped above him again. So let's hope I can stay there.
Yeah, definitely.
But yes. But thank you so much for joining me today. I had a great chat with you, Wimmo.
Likewise.
Been great to pick your brain and see how you go. And good luck against the Bulldogs this week.
Oh, thanks, Jim. Yeah, it should be a tough game.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. I'm talking to you. You, right there. I see you've watched our video all the way to the end. If you like what we're doing, why not drop us a subscribe? Or if you even like us even more, drop a comment and like us and all that jazz, because it really helps out the channel. And we're very keen to get our content out to you and let us know what you like, what you didn't like, all that jazz. And we'll see you next time.